We're out on top of the Oriskany. Chris is getting ready. I'm getting ready. The other Chris is back there getting ready. We're going inside today. So you guys are gonna see some pretty cool video. Hopefully, as long as I don't kick up all the silt, which not guaranteeing that I won't.
As long as we make it back.
And as long as we make it back. Otherwise, you'll never see this video, ever. Ever. Maybe this part, but not the other part. All right. You see Chris, not me. Maybe the other Chris.
Well, I guess we made it back because you guys are seeing the video. Welcome back to the Deco Stop. And welcome back to Below the Surface. We're back on the Oriskany, and this time we're taking a little bit of a different route. Not going to the CIC that's right off to Chris's left. We're going to go down to the third deck and make our way all the way through the chow hall, over to the bakery, and then over to the 143 cutout. Well, we're going to check out the engine room, and then just as we deplete our gas to our turn pressure, we're going to make our way back up to the flight deck and start our deco. But if you guys stick around till the end, there's a little bit of a surprise in there. It was kind of a surprise for us too, but it turned out pretty cool. So you're going to want to stick around to check it out. Now, when diving in the Oriskany, this is an advanced wreck dive. Definitely make sure that you have your training and that you're certified to come in here and do this, because there's a lot of ways that you could find yourself dead. And this music right here isn't meant to scare you. It's just how I feel when I come back and look at this video. It's kind of eerie. So I figured I gotta have some horror music to go with it. I like to compare wreck diving to somewhat of cave diving. You're definitely in an overhead environment. Visibility is not always going to be the greatest, and you have the chance of kicking up a lot of silt and a lot of sediment, which is going to blow you out to where you can't even see. To where that line that you see right in the bottom right hand corner of the screen is vital to make sure that you come back out alive. The course that we're taking is technically a traverse. So we're starting on one end, making our way through to the opposite end, and then coming up. So we're not coming back the way that we came in. It's very important for us to know our exact route and our exact exit point. Now, I do have a few lessons learned that I learned on this dive. Some really important ones, and I'm pretty sure that every time that I've been on a tech dive so far, I take a few lesson learns out of it. And that's pretty important to sit back and talk about. We talked about it all during our debrief on the boat, but I'm going to share a few of those with you guys, just so you know what we talk about. Number one being, today I'm holding my camera. You guys can probably tell because the footage is a little bit more shaky than when I have it mounted on my helmet. Thinking that I hold my camera all the time during recreational diving, I'll be just fine during a technical dive. And that couldn't be any further from the truth. Maybe after I do 100 more tech dives, but right now I'm still a baby diver when it comes to tech diving. And I should have never had a camera in my hand. Because I was focused on that camera instead of focusing on things that I should have been focusing on, like my breathing, or my buoyancy, or my fin kicks. My second lesson learned was the gear issue that I had once I got under the water. I was pretty meticulous when I was setting up all my gear prior to the dive. Everything worked great. However, once we got into the wreck, my transponder stopped communicating with my watch. So I tried to mess with it for a minute or two until I realized that it just wasn't going to work. So I had to resort to my backup pressure gauge, which is also another requirement when you're tech diving. No issue there. It's just something that kind of got my heart rate up a little bit, and in turn got my breathing elevated, which on top of that increased my sac rate. So I went through my LP95s a lot faster than Chris and Chris did. Always make sure that your batteries are refreshed and topped off and ready to go before you're on a technical dive. Could have completely solved that issue before I even got in the water. Now my proficiency isn't as great as Chris and Chris. They're in the water all the time. Last year, I was in the water all the time, so my sack rate was pretty low. But I haven't been diving as much this year as I have last year. So my sack rate already was against me. So whereas they're probably about 2,500 PSI in their tanks right about now, I'm about 800 less than they are. But that's okay. We have a plan. We have return pressure. Once one of us get to 1,000 PSI, we know that we're thumbing the dive and that we're coming back up to start our deco. So no issue there, just something to be cognizant of. If you have the opportunity to get in the water and dive more, do it. I have every opportunity to dive down here in Navarre. I have the Navarre Reefs 5 minutes from my house. And then I have Vortex Springs like an hour, maybe an hour and some change from my house. I could be diving there every day. And then I wouldn't be sucking it down like it's last call. I could be sipping like these two. Make it look so easy. Now here we are. We're heading over to the bakery. We're just coming out of the chow hall or the dining area. We're about to find out that the bakery's maximum holding capacity for divers is probably just about 3 people. Not a whole lot of room once we get in there. Which is why it's very important to have training on advanced wreck diving. Because you're about to see the visibility go from what you just saw to a whole heck of a lot worse. In these wrecks, there's also a lot of cables and strings and just lines that are hanging from the ceiling. And right now you see me, I had forward momentum and now I didn't. I got stuck, I got hung up. Pretty easy, just like Barry had trained us. Back kick and don't try to twist or turn to get yourself out. Just come back the way that you got into it and usually you'll free yourself out. And that's exactly what happened. But this is the bakery. Not very big. So we hover here for a minute, look each other in the eyes and say, let's turn around and get out of here. Now our formation is going to change a little bit. Chris is going to be up front. I'm going to take the second man position and the other Chris is going to come up behind me. And now you can see as I turn around, the visibility is already going to crap. It's about to get a little bit worse right here. And then by the time Chris is where I'm at, and I've kicked up some stuff, he has absolutely zero visibility. So he goes onto the line. Which is why, if you're not advanced wreck certified, you have no business coming in here. Maintain your training. If you come in here and you're not trained and you get tied up, you have the rest of your life to figure it out. So we're leaving the bakery and now we are making our way towards the 143 cutout. Visibility is a little bit clearer in here, so that's great. But I'm right about 1200 PSI in my tanks now, so we have just enough to drop down to the 5th deck, check out the engine room for maybe half a second, and then I thumb the dive and we all come back up to the flight deck. Now since I'm at about 1,000 PSI and Chris have about 18 to 1900 left, they're going to circle around the superstructure a couple times, checking things out, and I'm going to make my way back up to my first stop, I'm gonna hang out there for a little while and see everything that's about to unfold. Now, what we didn't know is that there was another group of divers that had came out to change out the American flag and the POW flag on the Oriskany. It happens about every 6 months once the flags get dirty, tattered, and torn. And this was my first time seeing it, so that was pretty awesome. Now, Chris usually has his camera on his helmet, so he would have got some really good footage too because he was actually down on the flags while they were changing them. However, when we got back to the house to check his memory card, he had lost all of his files. They were all corrupted. But when I had got home, I had saw on Facebook that Chip Briers had posted on Third Coast Divers some footage of the flags being changed out. So I sent him a message asking if I could use his footage in this film for you guys so you could see what it looks like when the flags are changed out. And he said, of course. These next couple clips that you're about to see are from Chip. Big shout out to him for letting me use his footage so that you guys can see it too. But now that they're changing it out, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to let you guys see it. And I'll see you guys on the Deco Stop.